Hey guys, welcome to the In-Flight Running Show. I'm your host, Coach Michael Merlino. I'm a Houston, Texas-based fitness trainer and running coach. I've been in the fitness industry for about 23 years now, after about 10 years in corporate human resources. I coach adults to train for distances from the 5K to the marathon distance. And recently, I've started coaching middle school kids here at St. John's School here in Houston, Texas. And my business, In-Flight Running, offers group coaching, group training, one-on-one coaching, and online coaching here in Houston. Okay. So I really believe that the content that we're going to share here and the people we're going to interview on this show will just keep you motivated and arm you with that practical knowledge that you need to be the best runner you can be on race day or just every day when you throw the kicks on and get out the door. Okay. So get ready to have some fun. We've got a great show tonight. Let's get it going. Some housekeeping. I'm going to go over to screen share. I would love if you guys would follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which we just started. Okay, so I'm going to go and go over to my screen share here. You can go to youtube.com/inflightrunning, and I'll pull that up for you in a second here. There's all my information. So follow us on Facebook, on the YouTube channel. Inflightrunning.com is our website. Okay. And then if you've got a question on the show today, just post it below. Okay. Or you can email us at inflightrunning@gmail.com. And if we've got time for questions today with our guests, we'll do that. And if not, just drop me an email and I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have. Okay. All right. On today's show, let me get off screen share here. We've got, we're going to talk about trail running, beer, and just fun running. Okay. Because it's going to be one of those years, guys. It's not, a lot of these races are going to fall. And I think it's just a good idea to get out and just do some fun stuff. Okay. So we're going to talk about just kind of getting off the beaten trail and doing some fun things, trail running, even if you're in an urban area. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest in and introduce him right now. Bill, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me, Michael. It's an honor to be on your show. I'm loving this Make the Miles Count show.
Yeah, man. So this is Bill Gardner, guys, from Run in Texas. Good friend of mine. I've known Bill probably, I think we were just talking in the green room about 10 years now.
A long time. It's been a long time.
So by design, guys, these first few shows, we're really going to highlight small businesses that really kind of make running tick here in Texas and probably in your own hometown. There's those race directors, because as you guys know, running's just a community thing, man. You know, it's just pretty tight. I always say running's just kind of, it's just a small world within your own community. So
it builds relationships.
Many. Yeah. I mean, man, I could, just when I picked up long distance running, Bill, back in, 98, 90, 99 is when I kind of kicked it in. I can't even think of counting all the people I've met in the running community, not only people I coach, but just at races and stuff, pretty social.
Yeah.
As you know, runners are pretty social.
And the ones that you log all your mileage with.
Yeah. Yep. So I did a little research on you, man. You don't have much on your LinkedIn page, but I did notice that you did go to my rival school, the Sam Houston State Bearcats.
Yes, I did.
And you
went to Stephen F.
Stephen F. Lumberjacks.
So
I was probably sitting.
Y'all just lost a whole bunch of wins in the basketball department from what I was reading in the papers.
Oh, recruiting violations? I don't know.
Yeah. They lost like all their wins stripped and titles through.
Oh, great.
I don't know, 10 years. Yeah.
Just when we get on top, man.
Yeah.
And then you played. It was interesting to find out you played lacrosse. Did you play lacrosse at Sam or?
Yeah. I played lacrosse at Sam Houston for the 84, 83, 84.
Wow. Okay.
85 seasons.
because I know when you were at Spring Woods, because you and I crisscrossed at Spring Woods when I first came to Houston. You were there my sophomore year. I went to Jersey Village, and but you were a football guy more in high school, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Football and
yeah.
track.
So, man, tell
A
me
little
your
bit,
story.
not
Like,
not anything. I wasn't like a stud or anything. I never made all district or any of that stuff. But
but you
I
ran
played.
track
Yeah,
in high school. Yeah.
ran varsity. Just never took home hardware.
Oh,
I was a hard.
speaking of hardware,
Yeah.
my pride and joy, dude. Can you see the light glistening off of this bad boy?
Oh, that's your
Yeah. I
chupacabra.
haven't won much in my lifetime, but I did win the team championship 2017 Chupa de Cabra del Houston race. We'll
Sweet.
get into that later, but I was too afraid to put water or anything in here because I got this new MacBook Pro and I'd probably end up spilling it and blowing up my computer.
Yeah.
So man, just tell me, take me down, kind of what's is your life, this is your life, Bill Gardner, and tell me, like, everyone's got their story, like for how they got involved in long distance running or running for that matter. Me, I was just kind of bored. I was a fitness trainer and I thought it'd just be a cool thing to run a marathon. So I started kind of training on my own, which is pretty painful, until I figured out I could actually, train with people. But so just take me back, like, where did you get in, like, after college and everything? I know you lived in Alaska for a while. Just kind of tell me a story about how because you lived here in Texas, you went away and then you came back, and that's when the whole race thing kind of started with you, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I spun my wheels in college and joined the Army, and that took me to Alaska, where I did 3 years, did my 3-year commitment in the Army, got out, and actually while I was in the Army, I was assigned to work as a lifeguard at the post swimming pool, and I still have my lifeguard certification because I was a WSI. So I went to work there, and there was a Navy SEAL that was the aquatics director there, and he used to run, and he ran the Boston Marathon, and we became buds. And I just thought, man, I want to run the Boston Marathon sometime. And just started running more and more with that guy, and realized, man, I'm starting to get a little bit fast because I was still in the Army and doing my PT times. So I was getting them down to under 12 minutes, like 11 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
And
Because that's
thinking, shoot.
because the cuts,
Yeah.
what does it cut, like 12 for the test? 12, 12:30?
No, it depends on how old you are.
Yeah.
Male or female, how old
Yeah.
you are.
Okay.
But anyway, 6 minute mile. It's real. Their tests are very forgiving. I mean, you don't need to be Roger Bannister to be able to pass a PT.
I've trained a few guys here in Houston to pass their tests. So yeah, I know it varies.
Really? There are people that actually have you train them to pass
Well,
the
yeah,
test?
actually, it's kind of weird, man. Yeah, in my history, in Houston, this cracks. People have hired me, dude. Seriously, SWAT, Houston Fire Department, Houston Police Department. I've had a paratrooper, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. I've had one from each division hire me to help them. The latest was an NFL.
And what's your success rate?
Well, for the ones that stuck with me that realized they had a hell of a lot of homework to do, we nailed it. But the ones that didn't realize that they couldn't just do track workouts with me and just not run during the week, no, didn't happen. So yeah. So that's what. So you were up in how long were you up in Alaska?
Oh, I was in Alaska for 3 years in the military, and then I got out and stayed for like another 5.5 years working.
Yeah.
And got married up there, and then we decided we wanted to get closer to my family and the lower 48, which is what all the Alaskans call it.
Yeah.
Just so we decided San Antonio. It's good place, good hometown. That's where I was born and raised, and
oh, cool.
I was born near the Alamo, and I'm proud of it. And,
oh, cool.
I like Texas.
And you're a Spurs
like
fan, unfortunately.
Not that big of a Spurs fan. I'm more of an Astros fan, actually.
Oh, I know, man.
I spent some time in Houston, so I got some Houston ties too. So I have a couple of, Houston's my adopted city, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So I graduated, spent some years there, graduated high school there.
Cool. So then you get back to Texas, and then what happens there?
After
Because like I know you got into, but like you there's one part of the story I know you skipped. Like you actually got to Boston. Like you won a marathon up in Alaska. Didn't you win a marathon?
the
Yeah.
marathon in Fairbanks. It's called the Equinox Marathon.
Okay.
I actually won that one year.
And that was probably good enough for a qualification, huh?
No, because it doesn't qualify. It's not a qualifying race.
Oh
It's too
man, no
difficult.
kidding. Wow.
Yeah, it's all trail and
I
it's
got you.
up and down. It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's not a Boston qualifier.
Yeah.
It would be hard to. There aren't really any Boston qualifiers that are ridiculously hilly. This is ridiculously hilly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it's got like a 2,500-foot climb in the middle of it.
Wow.
And then you go back down the other side of it in the middle of it. It's pretty much straight down. Yeah. It's everybody in Alaska knows that race. And
so you did go to Boston, and then you ran it multiple times, didn't you?
Did Boston 3 times, yeah.
Yeah.
And each time I flew in from Alaska.
Okay.
I used the Seattle Marathon as my qualifying, and that was always a good fast route.
So you did all those rounds of Boston before you came to Texas. Came back to Texas, right?
Yeah. Every time pretty much all my running was done up in Alaska. All my PRs and stuff.
How you
and
train?
Training in that kind of weather.
Yeah.
But the part of it was great because the last couple of years I got into cross country skiing. And you can do in Fairbanks, it's so cold. You can do that all winter long.
Yeah.
For 6 months or maybe 5 months, 5 solid months of being able to cross country ski.
Well, yeah, and actually that
is so good for you.
Well, that's that'll
make an animal out of you.
It's a known fact. Like Tour de France racers and cross country skiers from like Norway have the highest ever recorded VO2 max. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So you get back to Texas and then kind of settle down, start a family, and then what happened there? Because I know I want to get to fast forward to but in between there's some stuff.
All right, I still ran trails, and when I got down here, and that's pretty much all the running I did. It was run trail. I ran trails all the time, and I'd see all these people running the roads. I started talking to them. They'd start running trails. They'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna run the roads," and I'd run trails. But I was like, come run trails sometime. And they were trying to get me to run the roads. I'm like, man, I'm never gonna run the roads. I am a trail guy, and I hate traffic. And if I have beautiful trails at my disposal and leisure, I'm gonna use them. So I never went off the trails. So I got people more interested in trail running. We were whenever we'd run out there during the week, we'd get a little bit of a good trail run group going, and it's a big long line of people on a single track trail. And so I figured that's pretty much all I did. I got introduced to the only running I ever did in Alaska was trail running. So that's all I knew. It
was in your blood.
And so got down here and just thought we had we had cool trail races up in Alaska, and we always had beer at the finish, and we'd usually have food available somehow, some barbecue or whatever. Create a race down here with that, which there was none of that back when the prickly pear 2002 was the first prickly pear, and I had the idea of doing that race and pitched it to the San Antonio Roadrunners, and they did it, and I was the race director for that for 13 years.
Oh, cool.
And
so that was a pure.
It became a good race, just a good, fun party with a trail run, 50K, 10 mile, and a party at the end, fajitas included, and beer.
But it was a pure trail run, though. The entire thing was on trails.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'd start out with a little bit of pavement in the beginning, but it's 99% trail.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and the 50K is 10 mile. It used to be. They kind of switched it up a little bit, but Yeah, I did that for 13 years. And then I was in the lumber business when I was a volunteer for that race. I was a volunteer doing that race with the San Antonio Roadrunners, and then ended up with losing my train of thought here. Michael, help me out. Get me back on track.
Well, no, I mean, obviously from that you saw like, and I'll get to how I met you because it kind of connects. You saw, like people are digging this. Like to me, trail runners are always this underground thing. You know, these kind of crazy guys that just went out trails. But obviously, you saw that this could potentially be if you throw a good party in and have some beer and do it on trails and do something that's kind of cool and adventuresome. If you build it, people will probably come, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're shooting for.
And so that was so when did you kick off? Like when did you just kind of throw caution and go, hey, I think I'm going to start my own race or races or whatever, because now you've got like 22 of them, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. So we did all these prickly pear events, and that's what happened. I ended up getting laid off because I was in the lumber business, and the housing market crashed. So I got laid off, and then I was like, man, okay, what do I want to do? I wouldn't mind a change, but then my wife had the idea, let's start the running business.
So that was 2008. 2008.
Yeah.
That was hell.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we did, the first event was the Chupacabra San Antonio. And I thought I want to do a nighttime trail run. I just really just wanted to try this out. I just wanted to do a nighttime trail run with fajitas and beer, party at the finish. And I had no idea how it was going to go, so I just figured I'm going to limit it to 50 people. So I opened it up. I didn't even really advertise it. It got 50 people on signmeup.com. No problem. So I was like, wow, okay, that's 50 people I have to babysit through the woods, and who knows how it's going to go. Everybody's got to wear a headlamp.
That's before you had, because I know, because I was a volunteer for one of your races, that's before you had glow sticks floating all over the woods, right?
No, we always had, that was always in the plan, yeah. Because as an Army guy, I knew the benefit of glow sticks, and as a trail runner, glow sticks, if you're running 100 mile or more, you're going to have glow sticks on the trail at some point. So I knew about glow sticks way before that. So yeah, we just used glow sticks and limited it to 50. And then I figured we had, like 2 months until the race, and it was already capped at 50. I was like, let's make it 75. So we made it 75. It filled up like the next couple of days, and we capped it at that, and then we let maybe a few people in. We did it with like 80 people, and got everybody through cleanly. Then the next year it was like 1,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that was probably 2008.
Yeah, that's my favorite Chupacabra.
Because
I really can't say that, because the Houston Chupacabra is a totally different course and venue, but they're still both totally awesome in their own respect, but they're very, very different.
Yeah.
And I guess the only reason I would say that San Antonio is my favorite is because that's my hometown.
That was your first.
And that was the first one.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So fast forward. So I got wind of you from a mutual buddy of ours that went to high school with me, and then when I left Spring Woods, he was on your buds. And I was kind of starting to train with him because he was getting involved in marathons, and because I had my running group.
He did the Houston Ironman, or is it Conroe Ironman, or
yeah. So he got into that, and then
Texas Ironman.
He, his strength wasn't really running, so I would have my running group on Saturday, and we would meet on Sunday and do long runs. And one day he was like, "You need to meet my friend Bill," and he's got these really cool races. And then I heard about the Chupacabra, And what I like from the beginning when I saw your website, it's, and I know your better half has a lot to do with this too, but Karen, but um, just the way you guys theme things out, like it just, every race has a logo and every race had a, there's usually, now I know you have like food trucks. There's always food there and always beer there. And then you kind of good timing for you because craft beer got really hot about the time you started kicking these races in. Like what town doesn't have a brewery now, right? And
Yeah, it's
so
probably a little bit too competitive now.
yeah,
It's yeah, they're all the rage, but God, there's a lot of them out there now, and there's a lot of competition.
yeah. So I mean that's when I hooked up to the Chupacabra. I think I had my folks come out for one race, um, and then you had then pretty soon after that you added that Galveston race, the sand crab, which is you basically run it right on the shoreline of the beach down in
Yep.
Galveston, right?
Yeah, and South Padre.
Yeah. So that's kind of when I got hooked and kind of sponsored the race and a little bit and came volunteer with you a little bit, but
Yeah, that was probably 2010.
yeah, 2010 to 2012 when you started popping those, and then
Yeah.
but I just love the nighttime thing, man. That's a challenge. I mean, the one thing I tell people the most with those nighttime trail runs, it's like it'll tax your brain as much as your body because you have
Yeah.
there's no way around it. I mean, I remember one race I was running, um, and there was some tall gal ahead of me because I'm, on a good day I'm 5'7", and this gal, she looked like she was 6'1". Looked like an NBA player, WNBA player, and she kept jockeying with me. It was kind of ticking me off, like I go ahead and she come ahead of me. And finally I just, um, I kind of took her towards the end. And I heard this thud and this
So
groan.
you ended up running past her.
I ran past her finally.
You didn't get chicked.
Well, yeah, because that is when you're a guy. And,
At least not by her, anyway.
And so, anyways, I felt bad though because as soon as I passed her, there was no contact. I didn't bump or anything. As soon as I passed her, I heard this thud and this groan, and she just ate it behind me, like a falling tree in the forest. And then I just kind of looked back, and I was like, maybe I should check it. I'm like, nah,
or a piece of driftwood on the beach.
Exactly. Yeah. So, dude, let's talk about. I don't want to get on this too much, but because I'm trying to
get on it if you want.
Well, here's the deal, because it's reality, right? Like, I'm trying to put on a happy face because I'm a, let's make, all the good. By the way, all the good things of life come out of hardship. If you don't get laid off, we're not talking running Texas today, right?
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, it just happens, man. Like, you got to think positive, but we are dealing with a pandemic, and it's the only time I've dealt with it in my lifetime,
Yeah.
So what's happening is obviously races are being canceled, and they're falling left and right. And I know that's affected your business. So just kind of, I'd like to get into the mind of a race director. I know your events aren't as big, but still you've had no choice, but like I've had to do with my running group in Houston. We had to shut it down for about 8-9 weeks. So where are you at with that? And I know we're kind of crawling out of it right now. I mean, what do you see from now in the near future, knowing that obviously we can't look in a crystal ball, but
Yeah. Gosh, we had to postpone all of our events through May, and then we ended up doing all of them through June.
And that's hot. That's usually a busy time of year for you, isn't it?
It's pretty hefty. I mean, we got a few events in there, not the worst part, but now we're moving those over to September, and fall is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
But we are, we're going to.
Here's a picture of me in pain and agony when I won that. I've never been so tired in my life, dude. That was just total. I don't know what it is about running at night.
Was it the 10K or 5K?
It was the 10K team event. Where you take 4 people, and I was smart enough that I had 3 20-year-old ringers and me, masters level. That's the only reason I had a chance of winning that. But something about like at night, man, it's just not literally. There's points where you just have no earthly clue where you're at, you know?
Yeah.
So here's what I think is going to happen. I think, and you and I kind of talked a little bit about it pre-show, but
That's our start at Southern Star. Excuse me for interrupting, but
yeah,
I like
that's
that picture.
is that Conroe? Because that's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's coming up August 1st,
August?
that's
Yeah.
pretty quick. Coming up pretty quick.
But you've got 3 back-to-backs in Houston. You do that one, and then you do Chupacabra, and then you do Galveston, right?
Yeah. You know what? I should know, but we've moved so much. I can't remember what order they're all going to fall
Yeah,
in now.
I think they're all August races, though. Yeah. But see, and then you did. I thought it was kind of cool. I saw it because you know, who doesn't have a virtual race, whatever that means, but you just kind of you kind of put something. You and Karen kind of put something together. It was kind of cool. You were telling me about it, just to keep people engaged while we kind of have this hiatus from racing. And you did it on Facebook, right?
Oh yeah, the Run in Texas Quarantine Running Club. I just figured, man, let's just put a group together on Facebook, and we have built relationships and friendships with a lot of the runners that run our events on a regular basis, especially like the beer series. That kind of has evolved into a deal where a bunch of people are signing up for them, and we all go to all these different events and basically get to know each other. And it's been going on for a few years now, so that's kind of a cool deal. And
yeah, that's the Quarantine Running Club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I formed the Quarantine Running Club thinking, I'd like to keep all those people engaged and let them know we're still thinking about them. We're still hanging in there. So I formed this deal, and all of them jumped on board. And it was basically just, if you run, let's try doing 2 5Ks a week. And you know what? You're not married to having to do 2 5Ks a week. You can do 1, you can do none. You don't have to worry about whether or not you do it. We'll still accept you and love you in this group. So that's the premise of the whole group. And every week we still come up with a couple of 5Ks and make it clear you don't have to do them.
Yeah.
So I mean, shoot, man, it's evolved to where we've done probably 10 of these things, and I've come up with some ridiculous names for them. Like
give me a good one.
Give me my 6 feet 5K, virtual 5K, and they're all free. You don't have to sign up for them. You don't have to. All you have to do is just post your time, and just post your time and with a post saying you just ran it on the group page, and that's good enough.
Well, I looked on the Facebook page, and people are like making up their own race times. Like I just did my 5K, and I named it the blah blah 5K or whatever, right?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. We were doing this for about 4 weeks, and I was coming up with these names, and it was like the 5th week, and we were on a little family trip, and I was thinking, man, I haven't told everybody what to name the runs this week, so I just said it's name your own race week.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and I did that, and then people were naming some of their races. Bill forgot what Bill couldn't think of any good 5K names this week, so here's the 5K.
This week's 5K.
Yeah, that was the name of the 5K for the week. So
well, I mean, here's what I think is going to happen. I think it's going to be tough for all races, but I just think, I mean, hey, I can tell you right now in Houston, there's a place I go run that I'll make it. It'll remain unnamed because I don't want a bunch of knuckleheads going down there and running in my space. But I found this cool place in the city it's like a park that no one uses, and there's herons and birds all over the place. And so like during the whole quarantine, like I didn't even mess with Memorial Park. I'd go over there and run because there's some good terrain. It was grass. It was crushed granite trails.
Don't share that secret. Share it with me, but don't share.
Yeah. But it's the only reason I knew about it is I had a cross country meet with some of the kids at St. John's, and I was like, this place is sweet. So I just went over there and checked it out, and I tell you what, man, after doing that for 8 weeks, it's really kind of going back to, when you got used to trails in Alaska, man, it's really tough for me to go back to like a Memorial Park or Herman Park where there's just a ton of people and you got to worry about traffic and parking. And so I can see, where that would be, I'm already kind of hooked on it, and I'm looking for some trail races. And I think other than that, I think, your races are fairly small compared to like Houston Marathon and stuff. Like, what do yours usually run? 300 to 500 people per race?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's doable. And then when you're in the woods and it's trails, it's almost a little bit easier to distance once you get people out and about, right? I mean,
yeah.
So I'm hoping.
I think it's going to be pretty easy. Most of our events and our post race parties and our venues are, just naturally, people are 6 feet apart, or close to 6 feet apart. But getting them to stand 6 feet apart is totally doable in those venues. And if everybody's just making sure they're doing their thing, then we're going to be good.
Yeah, and I've even kind of urged my group. I'm like, guys, 2020 is a do-over. I mean, this is like, it's no different than what, we'll have our NFL football and you'll get to watch your Cowboys and I'll get to watch my Bills. But these other sports, especially like the NBA, I mean, they can come up with anything they want. The season's pretty much done. And it's kind of like with running, it's not done. So I've been trying to kind of push people to pivot and say, listen, you're not going to burn anything up this year. New York's, all these races are gone. I think New York will be next probably. Just get out the door, keep your fitness level. And then, I would love for more people to kind of go out and just kind of taste your part of the world, man. Go out. Because it's fun and it just takes the pressure away from running. That it's like, because you don't want to run. If running starts becoming your part-time job, it just doesn't become fun, even if you enjoy the sport, right?
Yeah. I totally believe that those kinds of athletes that are, signing up for the bigger stuff, that aren't seeing the bigger stuff, are going to get introduced to the stuff that we're doing. Yeah. That's off the beaten path at cool venues and small, we get a small crowd, not small crowd comparatively, but I think it'll be an eye opener for a lot of people that are used to not necessarily turning their noses up to these events, but thinking that I'm too fast for that, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I've run some of your races, and trust, pick the age bracket. There's some ringers out there. There's ringers out there, and those guys are serious.
Yeah, we get some gamers. Yeah. We get some folks that can bring it, but for the most part, it's pretty much everybody stands a reasonable chance of winning hardware at most of our races.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
But at the same time, I've had, I can tell you over the years of the times we've been out to your races, I've got people that are barely running a 13-minute pace per mile, and they love it. And the dudes in my group that, here's a picture of a few of the fellas from, God, that's probably, in fact, God bless his soul, man. The guy to the right, Matt Cobb, used to coach for me. He was
that's a Chupacabra, isn't it?
That's Chupacabra right there. And Matt, the guy all the way to the right, he's not with us anymore, but man, he was a U of H scholarship guy, and I think he went to, I forgot this right, I think it was Kingwood High, but a badass runner. And I don't know if he may have won it that year, but like you get a guy like Coach Matt when he was with us, and then I had people in my group that in their 40s and like 50s and 60s that could barely. Some of them came out and walked it. They came out and walked the race. I had a great time, man. Who doesn't want beer and fajitas at the end of the race anyway, right? I mean,
everybody wants beer and fajitas at the end of a race.
And then
I haven't found one person.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird. I was doing a little research for this, and like you're kind of in the crosshairs of two things you realize that have grown dramatically in the past 10 years. Okay, since I met you. Craft beer and trail running. I mean, like doing my research, these people just have this need to get away. And I'll tell you what, after this pandemic, I see why people like you live in, was it Garden Ridge, Texas, which is I mean, I see why you live away from the masses, because
Yeah,
it just,
it wasn't by design this way, but there's just a level of comfort you have
yeah,
living in a rural area.
yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
I get that. And um, one thing about trail running I've noticed too, it's such a huge range. Like I've noticed if a lot of them are just 5Ks, and then you get the crazy ultra guys, where it's like a 50K or above. It's a 50K or a 50 mile or a 100 miler. But I've noticed over the years since I've met you, they've kind of filled in those distances in the middle. Like I know some of your races, you'll offer like a 5K and a 10K, or a 5K and a 10K and a 10 miler and a 50K or whatever. So I've noticed there's been growth in different distances where it's not just 5K or ultra marathon and not much in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of this stuff started out west. Like I know mountainous areas. Obviously, when you were up in Alaska, but um, they're looking at where people buy trail running shoes now. I was reading an article about some of the companies that make trail running shoes, and how they're seeing a lot more of these shoes that are being bought in the east, and it's kind of moving east. It's not just mountainous areas anymore. That's a big growth area. And there's just more options. I mean, your company alone. I mean, you look at your lineup. I could pull it up here, but you've got 20 plus races just in the state of Texas, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and I
A good chunk of them are the beer series, and
yeah,
yeah, we offer pretty good plethora of
yeah,
different style
and I
events. We
know,
have a relay, 10-mile relay, or 2 times 10-mile relay, 20-mile relay, all on trail.
yeah.
That's out at Lighthouse Hill Ranch. And
So would you say you've got a lot of brewery runs now? So are they kind of split 50-50 now, like pure trail and I know obviously there's beer involved with all your races, but some are done. You literally run them at a brewery, and you've got multiple breweries across Texas that you run them at, right?
yeah, the Running Texas 5K six pack is a group of events that you can run, or a series of events that you can run, and we compile your times for each event. And the first one was Middleton Brewery 5K beer run. There's 8, but since we've already run Middleton, there's 7. So you could sign up for all 7 for one price,
Yeah,
or you could sign up for each one individually. And I think we have it pricing structured to where you could decide, as far into the series as the 4th race, and still get the pricing that you're looking for. And if we don't have it already set up, we'll do it as we go along, or
yeah.
retroactively right after the race.
Can you see the site on there? I got popped the site up. So if you guys go
I
under,
see it. Yeah.
yeah, if you go into Run in Texas events, and it looks like you always have these in chrono order. Like what's up next.
Yeah, I think that thread, that little pop-up pull down, I'm not 100% sure that's
Yeah,
accurate chronologically, but
yeah, yeah. It's So on that note, man, tell me what's next. Like, I know I can tell you right now, you and I talked about this. Um, I'm back. We got our runners back last week, because I'm a weird hybrid, man. I'm not a gym. I do train people in a small studio. And running groups weren't truly defined by the state of Texas as far as where they meet, um, but so we've got I've got a 3-page document of all the different things. This is what we're doing to be safe, and this is what we expect from you guys, and try to keep your distance and don't spit. And if you're going to cough, go down the bayou and cough, and just common sense stuff. But um, so I've had to. I think we lost Bill. He's got a storm going through San Antonio. Um, let me pull this off of here, guys. So well, I was talking to Bill about Bill's in San Antonio, guys, and there's a big storm going through San Antonio. It's headed to Houston, so that may be it for him for the night. So He said that about 8:30 would hit. So I guess I'll just wrap it up in case I can't pull him back in. I don't see him in the feed here. Oh, here he is. I got you back, man. You there?
Yeah. I
That's
think
okay.
we had a little lightning strike out here.
Yeah, I told everybody there was some stuff. There was some heavy stuff hitting San Antonio. So I was pretty much we're close to wrapping it up. But tell me what's next on the agenda. What I was talking about before I lost you is how with a running. Anytime you're dealing with a group of humans and you're dealing with a pandemic, obviously you got to rethink everything, right? So give me a sense of what you guys are doing, and the most important thing is now that we can open things up now, what's next for you guys? Like what's coming up on the race calendar?
Well, the next event we have coming up is Five Stones Brewing Company, and that's at our Run in Texas page. The actual website is Run in Texas, 3 words, Run in Texas /stone for the 5 Stone event, or you can find it on the pull down menu.
Yeah.
That's our next event coming up.
Five Stones Artisan Brewery, that one?
Yep.
Okay.
In New Braunfels, actually just outside of New Braunfels.
Oh, cool.
I mean, technically it is New Braunfels, but it's not like the New Braunfels most people think of, right downtown around the river and all that.
Okay.
It's very rural, and it's not really pretty out and back along a farm road out here in the hill country, and it's real nice, and the brewery's beautiful. There's lots of parking.
So it's July.
Free parking.
So that's your comeback then. That's your comeback race, July 11th.
That's it, man. I'm hoping we're going to be leading the way of getting people back into the running scene safely. We want to take, we're going to look at everything from our water stops. We haven't decided 100% how we want to do things, but we're looking at water stops. We're looking at post-race gatherings, pre-race gatherings, making sure everybody's doing their social distancing thing. I mean, from parking to getting you to the pre-race briefing to the starting line, on the course, water stops to the finish line. We're going to look at everything and do our best to do what it takes to get everybody to the finish line safely.
Yeah, and it's tough, man, because people all over the map as far as their comfort level, and we tested the waters this week, and some people won't be out for a while. They've just told me, like, I just don't feel comfortable with it, and some are just kind of creeping out, and some are like, man, they're like, whatever, I'll take my chances.
At the bit.
Yeah, but I think the big thing, to your point, and this is what I'm trying to do with my group is, and I kind of stressed it to the folks at workouts this week. I'm like, guys, the one thing we can do is distance, and you got to, just you got to respect everybody, because some people are just like, they're still kind of leery about it. So we got to do the right thing, which is just keeping a little bit of separation. It's just kind of a lot of common sense stuff. But until we know we're for sure out of the woods, and we don't get obviously we're hoping we don't get a bounce once we open up a little bit, and I'm just hoping, to be honest with you, dude, it's Texas. I'm hoping it gets hot as hell and we just kill this thing.
Yeah.
I never heat doesn't bother me too much, and my runners hate it, but if we got to go through one painful heat wave of a month to kill this thing, or minimize the risk, I'm all for it,
Hopefully we've already gone through a few.
Yeah. Guys,
I've gone pretty hot lately. Hopefully that's doing some damage.
Yeah. Well, what's unfortunate about spring, and like, you had to cancel races, I had to cancel long runs, we actually had spring. I mean, it was pretty decent weather. Like, the weekends were beautiful. I mean, it was, pretty, I don't know about San Antonio, but here it was pretty good for Houston, and guys, I've got all of Bill's information there. Bill Gardner from Run in Texas. There's his website, runintexas.com. You can follow him on Instagram at Run in Texas, and then Facebook.com/Run in Texas. If you want to check out his Facebook group, go ahead and like that. And he gives some pretty cool little updates on races and what's going on. And then if you need to email them, info@runintexas.com. So Dude, that's all I got, man. Thanks for sharing. And it's been a while. I think the last time we did something like this, I did a little podcast.
Yeah,
But
we did it on the radio.
yeah,
I had to pull over under an oak tree and turn my truck off, and we did it that way.
I had no clue. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We did a call in. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the road for something.
Yeah. All right, man. So
yeah, hey, thanks for having me, man.
yeah,
I
we'll
love
have
the
you
show.
back on.
This is great.
And we'll be seeing you, man, because like August, I've just got a new. It's there. It was kind of coming to the surface, and it was not. It's no the nothing like a pandemic to kind of shake that loose. But like I've got the, you know, what's that line from Saturday Night Live? I've got a fever, and the only prescription is trail
Cowbell.
running, not cowbell, trail running.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll if I can wrangle up these city slickers, man, and get their asses out to Chupacabra and Sand Crab for sure. And then we got a lot of beer drinkers in my group, so if anything, they could head up to Conroe and do the 5K up there.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
All right, man.
Let's do it. I might even consider a group discount for your people.
That would be cool. But hey, don't even worry about that. They'll just be
okay.
Trust me. They'll be thrilled just to be able to race, and like I said, to me, operations like yours and some other small race directors I know here in Houston, that's where the magic lies now, because I just, it's just, especially trails. It's like a no-brainer to me. Just get out on the trail and separate and have some fun.
I look at this. I mean, the big races are going to wait for us to do what we're going to do. Yeah. I look at this as a great opportunity.
Yep.
A great opportunity to shine and helping get running back going safely. And, as a company, hey, man, if the big boys don't want to go first, we'll do it, and we'll do it right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
and that's going to be also look at the buy local.
Yeah. Well, hey, dude, that's why I have you on here.
We're local. We're like Texas.
My run coaching business and my training is I'm a one-man show, mom and pop. No, mom, you got a mom. You're a mom and pop technically. I'm just a pop. But it's just, we've had people in our group volunteer for your race, and they just love the event. Sometimes even if they don't want to, I'd recommend a lot of people too. One thing you guys definitely want to do as runners is think about the local guys in the races, and trust me, they always need volunteers, man. I know and this dude right here, if you volunteer for his race, will probably float you free entry, or you're going to get a big plate of something
we take
a few
care
beers.
of everybody.
Yeah. But, think about that with a lot of these smaller races. They're always looking for volunteers, and it's probably one of the funnest things you can do is volunteer for a race. I mean, I was the glow stick guy one year, went around in the golf cart, put up glow sticks. So I know the importance of that now.
You did a damn good job too.
I probably did too good of a job.
You might have used too many glow sticks.
Yeah. I think I blew your glow stick budget that year. Yeah.
We went through some glow sticks that year. I do remember that.
That was hilarious, because I remember you got me on the radio. I'm like, Merlino, where you at? And I'm just like, no, you need to spread it out more. You're going to run out of glow sticks. I was like, okay, boss. Yeah. All right, dude. Have a good night.
Okay. Hey, thank you for having me, man. Good night, folks.
Tell Karen I said hi, and I'll send you the replays in case you want to post that on your website.
10-4. Be safe.
Right. Take care, man. See ya.
All right. Toodles.
Right. Take care. All right, guys. That was Bill Gardner from Running Texas. Great guy, man. So support your local mom and pop race directors. Okay. I don't know wherever you are in Houston. He's my go-to guy, and he's got them in the Houston area. He's got them all around Texas. Let me go back to screen share and wrap this up for you guys. So that's it for tonight, guys. I just want to remind you, if you're in the Houston area, we've got our training program. We call it the Prime Season. It starts on June 6th. It runs through February 13th of 2021. I pray to God I'm sure we'll have a Houston Marathon if all this stuff settles. It's a 36-week training program, full fluid support on long runs. On Saturdays, we do interval trainings. We alternate between track and hill work. That's on Tuesday. You get an online schedule, early registration for that. Early registration pricing for that goes through June 3rd. And you can break up the cost of membership into 3 payments or 6 payments if you want to do that. Okay. You can register for that at inflightrunning.com. Okay. That's all I've got for tonight, guys. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be here live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock with either a guest, usually a guest, and just trying to bring the content for you guys. Just make your, just any little thing helps, man, just to kind of make you a better runner, a less injured runner. Okay. All right. Have a great week. And remember, when all else fails, you know what to do. Just go for a run. Take care, and we'll see you next week. See ya. Bye.